it's the day after Christmas. As I'm filming this, probably not when you're watching this, but hey, it's the 26th, and it's the day before Snowmageddon. We got a couple of inches last night, very pretty. Not too bad to drive in. It's already melting out a little bit, as you can see, but tonight we should get upwards of a foot, possibly. Anyway, but that's not why I brought you here today. Actually, I want to share something that I've been meaning to do since last year, actually. I'm going to be, I hope, getting something this coming week that adds to my collection that I'm about to talk about. This is a partial beginner's guide to Shiny Brite and related ornaments, glass ornaments from the 1930s to about the 1960s. Mostly made in America. There's a few European ones I'll be showing you. So let's take a look. So here's the aftermath of the other morning, but what I wanted to show you was that here in Debbie's house, here's a festive end table constructed out of equipment boxes, but since we did a family Christmas thing up here in this house, because it's easier for my mother-in-law to access the entry here, I went ahead and put up a little wee tree and used mostly all Shiny Brites and some other mid-century and a little bit earlier ornaments. And that's what I want to talk about, is that particular collection. Here is a lovely one from, I think it's the early 40s. In fact, I can check when these are from because I have a very excellent book that I would like to highly recommend to you. And that book is Immigrants, Ornaments, and Legacies by Jody Pritzel. This is the book about especially Shiny Brites, but also a couple of other brands that were made in America starting in about the 1930s and then through wartime, which I'll talk about in a second, and on to today. So she has a number of really excellent videos out. Look for those on YouTube. I'll try and link to them in this video. Definitely watch those if you want a deep dive into these ornaments. That is the place to go, is to Jody's videos. They're excellent. They're full of information, even more information than what's in her book. She's discovered new things since it was written. But let's talk about my collection here for just a moment. So here's a selection of Shiny Brite boxes in particular. This is the oldest one that I have. These were started in 1946. You can see American made. Hey, everybody. Even though Max Eckert and Sons had a German name and was originally a German immigrant. Hey, no, these are American made. We're not Nazis, like at all. And they weren't. They were lovely people carrying on and creating really an American tradition with the Shiny Brite company and its related companies. This is in really nice shape. We've got this great graphic here. Unfortunately, this smaller size box has, had some misuse. When I actually got this at an antique store last week, there was much more of this masking tape just everywhere, and I was able to very, very carefully and gently peel that off and remove that. This is the only piece I can't get. But because it was so old and like the stickiness had kind of gone away, I was able to just very carefully, you see a little trace is still remaining here, very, very, very carefully and gently pick that off of there. But inside you have, your typical partitioned box. This one had, when I bought it, an assortment of different things. Some of these are from Japan, actually. So this is just post-war. It doesn't say occupied Japan, it just says Japan. So I think these are from a little bit later, probably, 1950, something like that. So this box is from 1946 to about 1949, 1950 is when this box was issued. And one fun thing I found in here when I was taking these ornaments out for the first time this year, because I only just got it, there's a tiny little piece of lead tinsel in here. Here's some, familiar aluminum tinsel you might be familiar with, but originally tinsel was made of thin strips of lead. Yes, kids, don't chew on that, right? So, but yeah, it was fun to see that there's a actual old piece of lead tinsel, like just kind of forgotten in this box from about 1948, something like that. So I thought that was the greatest little discovery. The box I'm most familiar with from my childhood is the Christmas tree box, and this is a popular one. I got this actually at a thrift store, full of ornaments. I think the whole thing cost me like $3. I mean, because people are like, it's old, who cares, they're boring, it's just a plain ball. But for me, this full of just green ornaments is my Christmas growing up. And I'm going to throw a picture on there right now of, it's unfortunately not the greatest quality picture, but you can see the white flocked tree behind us on the sofa. There's my mom, there's me, there's my older sister, and then my dad being all weirdly stoic. But we had a flocked tree every year that we got from the tree lot. They had a flocking lot at the Cow Palace, which is, I lived near there. I was just off Geneva in San Francisco. And they would have these different partitions where you could get a pink flocked one or a blue flocked one or a white flocked one or a not a flocked one. And we always get the white one and put the green Shiny Brite ornaments out of the tree box, here. And the green ornaments on the white tree actually looked like really cool. And it seems weird, but it's like, no, it looked awesome. I'm trying to find a color picture of that. I don't know if I have one. The tree box dates from 1958 and was used until 1962, according to Jody Pritzel's very excellent book. You see the different plants that Max Eckert and Sons has at this point in time. New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey. Back here, we have the North Bergen, New Jersey factory. And then he's got a display room in New York City. Pretty swanky, huh? Here we've got K&W Glassworks. So you can kind of date these boxes based on the information of when they had the different factories and display rooms in what cities. Found these actually at a tag sale for $1. And this is a little package that was designed for people who want to save money. They want like, a little package with little ornaments to, get from the dime store. You get a dozen of them for very cheap. It says for decorating packages, for little, for boutonnieres, little things like that. To, penny pinching. If you want to save some money, get just a little package like that. These packages are from 1963 to 1965. This colorful garland in the two colors here that you have on the sides. What's interesting about this box too is that this was originally designed with the clear window for fruit. This was designed for, apples and peaches and such. And they just simply changed the lid to to a Christmas tree. And hey, now look, it's for ornaments, and it keeps your glass ornaments safe just as well as it might keep a peach safe. And I think that's pretty neat. That's pretty inventive. So let's talk about some of the ornaments themselves. These kind of airbrushed looking ones you might encounter. These are from the 1960s when they started doing the mod airbrushing look. These are probably from the early 60s. The designs changed a little. They got a little more complicated as they were able to develop the machinery to stamp and create these, glitter designs. These older ones, just a simple stripe. And, apparently the striping machine was developed in the late 30s, early 40s. I'd have to look at her videos again. Again, very excellent videos. Highly recommend them. Here's another color combination of that. You can identify post-war and wartime. Well, wartime, let's talk about wartime in just a second. Post-war especially has that classic crinkly top that says, I don't know if you can see that. It's hard to see in a video. This camera doesn't focus very well on very close, tiny things, but we'll try. Shiny Brite, made in USA. Sometimes an ornament will break and a cap will get lost and a Shiny Brite cap will be put on a non-Shiny Brite ornament. That happens. don't stress about it too much unless you're like a super purist, I mean, it's fine. But chances are, if you see that crinkly top and you tip it and it says Shiny Brite, it's a Shiny Brite ornament, if that's what you want to collect. Here's another one, probably, early 60s, something like that. Here's a weird stripy one that has like a white inside. I'm going to say that's probably 60s. But now we get into some of the older ones. This is my prized possession here, is clear. There's no silver. Why? Because during the war, silver nitrate was needed for the war effort, so they couldn't silver the insides. And this is on the inside. They couldn't silver the inside of the bulb, so they had to go with clear. This still has the metal cap. Eventually, they took away even that. And the paper cap is kind of the holy grail of Shiny Brite ornament collecting. This one says made in US of A on the top. It's not crinkly, but it is a Shiny Brite. Because post-war, again, they have the crinkly top. Pre and during the war, except for the paper cap, you have the non-crinkly top, and it says made in US of A, and then here it changes to Shiny Brite made in USA. So that's how you can tell the age on some of these things. And again, the striping machine is putting on these lovely pastel stripes, which gives a nice effect. Especially when you put it next to a light, the light will shine through and it looks very nice. So I'm thrilled to have this. I found this last year or the year before, and I was like, oh my God, there it is, an unsilvered ornament. Now, let me show you another. This one is another clear one, and it has a little bit of tinsel inside. And if you can see that, it looks almost like a little pine branch, but it has a clear, right? And it does not have the nitrate on the inside, and a little pine branch. And again, those pine branches would disappear eventually, and it would be just nothing inside with the metal cap. And then the metal cap would disappear as the war went on. European ornaments have very, very tiny little caps, often with a slot. Come on, get out of there, hanger. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's got a slot for the loop, the hanging loop, and a little wee tiny neck, whereas Shiny Brite, you can see, obviously much larger by comparison, like 1/2 inch versus, maybe 1/4 inch, very tiny. So here's another one that's European. Same thing, it's got the tiny little cap, and that's how you can tell. Usually, I'm trying to read the top of this. I think it says Germany, I'm not sure. They are often stamped with where they came from, country of origin. But that's a nice indent there, a peachy color. Quite pretty. Hand painted, hand glittered. I don't know the era on that. It's harder to tell because I don't have the information like I do about the Shiny Brites, where that, the crinkly top is post-war, blah, blah, etc. So, and this one probably actually isn't a Shiny Brite because it doesn't have the crinkly top. It's clearly from the 60s, but it doesn't have, does it say on the top? See, sometimes the stamps are difficult to read. It does say made in USA, but it doesn't say Rauch or any other company. So I'm not sure the origin of this particular ornament, but it's probably not a Shiny Brite, but that's okay. So these are some of my favorites. The white painted stamp design that say, Silent Night or Merry Christmas or something like that. These are from the 1940s, post-war, because it's got the crinkly cap. So probably 48, 49, something like that. All the dates are in Jodi's excellent book. I highly recommend it. Again, I know I'm going on about it. This is probably from the 1960s based on the design of the butterfly. It's kind of a mod art type thing. Here's some of these little tiny ornaments that go in that box I showed you earlier. Double reflector, probably from about 1950, something like that. And we get into some fun polka dots, more stripes. So this is a glittery stripe, although this is from Japan. It has that little tiny cap, and it's very hard to make out, but you can just make out that it's from Japan. I have a few more just random mid-century ornaments that I just like that are also from Japan. Let me find the blue one that's similar. Yeah, here's that blue one. I mean, it's not in fantastic shape, but you know, it's okay. You just turn it and it's, you know, you put the, just like you put a bare part of a tree to the back, you put a bare part of an ornament to the back. It's fine. But it's got the kind of those, you know, atomic starbursts that are fun. Here's another one from the late 40s, the painted design here. And then some just plain stripies like this guy, a little earlier. Another double reflector, your classic. And let's see. This is an older one. This might be a premiere. No, let's see. It says made in USA, and it is not crinkly, and it does not say Shiny Brite. So I'm thinking this might be one of the competitors. There were several other brands and companies, really 2 or 3 big ones that are, you know, I don't want to say copying Shiny Brite, but they're very similar, let's just say. But they're fun, you know. I mean, they've got that vintage look. They're great fun to have on a tree, bringing back that old-timey look. We've got, you know, the atomic pink, very popular in the 50s. Here's a more modern one. It's starting to get into being a little bit hard to tell the age on some of these. This lime green polka dot and the pink polka dot. I mean, you know, how fun is that, right? And I do have a blanket. I've got several layers of sound blankets on the ground just because if any of these drop and hit the cement floor, they're goners, and I'm not having that. So I've been very carefully patted the floor. Here's a bright fluorescent pink. You know, it's like, okay, this pink isn't pink enough. We need to be pinker. Okay, there you go. I don't even know where this is from or what this is or why this is. It's just weird and cool. And it's pink glass with little polka dots with whatever ribbon is the hanging thing. I don't know. It's weird and I like it. And it's probably one of a kind. It might be someone cleverly put stuff around it to replace a missing cap. It's a strange thing, and I just dig it. Here's some more that I have in storage that I just didn't put on this year because time and the size of the tree just wouldn't allow. But here's one. You can tell, again, the design is kind of weird. It's got that airbrushed 1960s. The weird are they people? Are they abstract? Who knows exactly? But you know, it's got that weird 60s vibe. You know, Shiny Brite, made in USA. Here's your classic Merry Christmas. This is a popular one. They sold tons of these. I get 25 cents at a thrift store. This is a little bit later. This is a little bit earlier. You can tell the difference in design between the two. This has got kind of more of a, you know, script font. And well, I mean, they're both script fonts, but you know what I mean? This is like a handwritten kind of design. This is more of a, you know, printed modern design. Here's another snow scene, Shiny Brite, made in USA. It's losing some of its silver as it you know, degrades over time. They have to be stored carefully. Store them in a dry place. Store them carefully. One thing I wanted to show you, well, a couple things I want to show you. This is fun. This is an ornament hanger box, probably from the 60s. It's just fun. It's small. It fits in my, you know, from Bill's store, 23 cents. It's fun to you know, tuck that in there and have it. One thing I also want to show you is I bought this myself back in the, I think 1980s, or yeah, probably late 80s, and it's got a very fancy cap. As soon as you see a cap that's like super extra like that, super fancy cap. Here's another one. Come out of there. Come. See, similar kind of thing. You see those kind of over the top caps. You know that's from the 80s. That's when that started, basically. Here's a little Putz house. I love this little guy. A gift from my mother-in-law. You set it over a mini light. You just, set it right on there, and then the house glows. There is a hole in the top, so you can kind of hang it from a branch also to position it how you want. These are called putz houses, highly collectible. They're called that because it's made of paper, like you're putzing around making little models. Weirdly, yes, that's where the name comes from. It's not a brand. It's a description, the putz house. And then here's some kits from the 1970s that my sister made, actually. They're, kits that you have a cork ball, and then you just use pins to put on the ribbons and sequins and such. Here's another one that she made. Again, a kit. You can see the cork ball in the middle there. But quite pretty and quite fun. It's a fun activity for the family. And you can still get ornament kits. So that basically concludes our tour. I have a couple of fun family ornaments that were my great aunt's that I inherited, at some point when she passed on. The Snowman family one. She has one of the bicolored large Merry Christmases. That's in another box. I didn't want to dig that out, but I thought that's fun. It's getting so fragile now, meaning the paint on here is just, it's so old. It's from the pre-war, right? So even though it looks more modern, the cap tells the tale. This is probably from about, 1940, I'm going to say. And it's showing its age a little bit. I have to be very, very careful. I don't generally keep the hangers in with them, or shouldn't, because it can scratch them. Like this is in a little bit of rough shape, this farm scene with Santa flying overhead as another family ornament for my great aunt. And I want to be careful with that. This is a different brand, I think. I'm not sure, but it's not silvered. It's clear. It's a clear red. And I think it might be, now that I'm looking at this, actually, made in US of A. Hey, see, now I discovered something today. I believe this is an early Shiny Brite. And I had actually been avoiding, until recently, this style of cap, because I didn't know that was Shiny Brite. I was only looking for the crinkly top. And thanks to Jody, I have now discovered these don't have crinkly tops. This doesn't. And it says made in US of A. And it's clear. There's no silver. I think this is an early wartime Shiny Brite bulb from probably about 1942, something like that. Man, I love learning about this stuff. I hope you have too. So that's it for this time. I have 100 subscribers. Yay. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please click the bell so that you know when I post another video, either about vintage things, homestead things, making things, little snapshots into my life and the things that I love. So put a note in the comments as to what you'd like to see me cover. And I will see you again, hopefully soon. Snowmageddon's coming, so it ain't going to be tomorrow, but, very soon I will post another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.